Welcome to yet another edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Today's focus is going to be the Democratic presidential debate that was held last evening, and all of the misgivings or triumphs, if you will, that happened within those 2 hours. I'm your host, Phil Taylor Jones, and we're going to jump into this situation right now. Looking at it, it was a bit intimate. Not five candidates as before, just three. And the moderators were the moderators, as they usually are. Before we get into the actual logistics of the debate, I just have to say about these supposed journalists. They're ridiculous. As usual, they were asking questions that would elicit divisiveness, that would elicit anger among the candidates, or argumentativeness among the candidates. It's ridiculous. They were delving into the past. And with this debate, they had the Twitter people chiming in on the side of the actual debate screen. And even some of them were chiming in saying, well, what is this garbage? Why delve in the past? It's all about what's going to happen in the future. And it was just crazy. I remember one incident where the moderator guy asked Bernie Sanders, one of the female moderators asked, about the statement he made about him being damn tired of Hillary Clinton's emails. And I mean, just going back to that crap, what good does it do what good does it do the country? How is it helping the issues that we face in this country to go backwards? We need to be going forward. And I just thought it was ridiculous of them. And they're talking about, we're the best journalists. Journalism has been the best it's ever been in the history of journalism. Yeah, right. And a pig's patoot. Now let's get into the actual candidates themselves. Well, since it was so intimate, it was kind of dull because, you didn't have like 8 or 15 like the Republicans. But it went along kind of, haphazard until Bernie Sanders kind of landed on Slithery Clinton about her affiliation with the big Wall Street boys and the banks and how they're backing her campaign. And she kind of got a little pissed off about it and tried to get back on him and try to lie her way out of it the way she usually lies her way out of everything. And so there was a little fireworks there. So I guess the moderators were happy about that. And then Mr. O'Malley called Trump I think it was an immigrant-hating carnival barker or something to that effect. Idiot, something like that. But it was something derogatory and negative against Trump, who then later chimed in no more than twice on Twitter, or maybe 3 times, knowing him. But all of this crapola just leads to the fact that politics around the world is a joke, but especially here in the United States, it's a joke. If O'Malley was going to say something about immigration, then why did he have to throw Trump in there? Just speak what you feel about immigration and just have done with it. But they love it. They love it. They're just like the people in the Middle East, these stupid politicians. They love to fight. They love bickering. They love divisiveness. They love instigating and signifying. If they didn't, they wouldn't do it. Now, let's touch on a few things. The things that jumped up and sort of said, "Hi, Phil," were the minimum wage bit. Now, Bernie Sanders wants to go for $15 minimum wage flat out. Slithery Clinton wants to take away $3 and go $12 minimum wage. And again, folks, I apologize if I crack a few. I'm still dealing with this flu or whatever it is. But we go through pain to bring you the Phil Taylor Jones Show. So bear with me. Yeah, back to Slithery Clinton and her $12 deal. Now she's standing up there like she's so proud that I'm standing here and I'm beating on the tom-toms. I'm chomping at the bit for giving our American citizens $12 per hour for minimum wage. I think I'm just the queen of sweetness. Wait a minute. Let's look at you, Slithery Clinton. Would you work for $12 an hour? Would you work for $15 an hour? I think not, because who's the one that gets $184,000 for a 20-minute speech? I think that's you, Slithery. Who went to some women's guild, I think it was last year, and spoke for an hour and picked up $500,000 for it? I think it was you, Slithery. And I think that's a heck of a lot more than $12 an hour. So before you get on your high horse and say that she thinks that $15 is too much, 12 would be sufficient, ask yourself, you limey bastard, would you work for $12 an hour? No. So come off it. Bernie, you might be nice and everything by saying that you want to give $3 more. But again, I say, when you get your paycheck from being in the Senate, is it a paycheck that you worked for $15 an hour? I think not. So I mean, to raise it for $15 an hour, that's okay, but still, it needs to be raised higher than that. Or either start making things mandatory, like you work no less than 6 or 8 hours a day. No more of this 3-hour crap or 4-hour crap. How in the hell can you make an honest, a decent living at 3 hours a day? 4 hours a day, maybe even 5 if they can spare it. If it's mandatory $15 an hour or $12 an hour, it's got to be mandatory 6 hours a day or 6 to 8 hours a day employment. No more of this part-time crap. You guys have got to start or stop half-stepping. Yeah, maybe an employer would be able to raise the minimum wage to $15, but then cut the workday to 3 hours a day. You don't give people a stick to crack your head with, in essence. So that $15 a day stuff, $15 per hour, it's a way up, but it's not far enough up. Now, in light of what happened in France, and before we go any further, I'd like to send a Phil Taylor Jones show shout out to all of those people that are mourning and in extreme pain right now for the loss of their loved ones in France. That was a horrible, heinous thing to have happen for the second time now in Paris. Where are the stupid, idiotic politicians? They're sitting there with their heads in the sand and allowing this to go on while all of these people, at last count that I've heard of, I haven't checked my sources this morning, but 129 dead and 370 or so injured. Innocent people, one American citizen gone. When will the lunacy stop? When will the madness end? When will human life be respected by one's own country leaders? When will it? This is a shame. So to you Parisians out there, our heart goes out to you, and we hope that you can find some kind of strength and solace within your loved ones and within your friends and your family. Having said that, they got on the issue of immigration. And, folks, I've said this so many times on so many shows, that should not even be on the table. I don't know why or how these people in these various countries, specifically ours, have gotten it so firmly stuck in their heads that we need these people. I'm not talking about the supposed refugees. I'm just talking about these foreigners in general. Ooh, we need a fresh supply of workers. That is bull crap. If you need a fresh supply of workers, why not go to the ones that have been on the streets for 10 years, that have been looking for a job for the past 5 years or so? There's a workforce out on the streets. We don't need to import. I mean, this crap has been going on since the early 40s. Get over it. In my humble opinion, foreigners are best left in their own country. Then they won't be foreigners. They'll be native sons. Now, when you factor in this refugee crap, I was hearing Slithery Clinton saying that she, at first they were talking about 10,000 of them coming in. She wanted to bump that up to 65,000. This O'Malley guy said, yeah, it's a humanitarian thing to do. We've got to accept them in. And even pitiful Bernie Sanders, he jumped on the bandwagon. On the heels of the tragedy that happened in Paris, you're still beating on the tom-toms to let 65 or 100,000 or 200,000 of these question marks in our country under the title of humanity. No, you are idiots, pure and simple. Now, somebody brought up the fact, I think it was O'Malley, that we've got millions of Muslims here in our country, which is true. And the mere fact that we haven't had another horrific catastrophe like 9/11, the taking down of the World Trade Center, and the damaging of the Pentagon, and the crashing of a plane in Pennsylvania, the mere fact that we have not had that, you can thank your lucky stars. But we still sit here waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because out of those millions of Muslims, how many are Muslim extremists? How many of them are sleepers, just waiting for that text message, or that phone call, or that tweet, or that text, or that Instagram, or whatever method they use to go into action and start doing the same thing they did in France here? We don't know. We sit here ever present waiting for the other shoe to drop, because we don't know who we've let in our country. Now, just regular run-of-the-mill Muslims are strange to us, American citizens. They don't like pork. They don't like beer. They don't like the way people other than them dress with the things on their heads and the ninja things or whatever the hell you call those things, and the way they dress. They don't like that. They're the most easily offended people I've ever seen in my life. If you scratch your nose, they're offended. If you cough, they're offended. If you breathe, they're offended. They don't have any respect for American life, because when they get into a place, they immediately start wanting to change it. Excuse me.
Careful, you might have offended someone.
I might have offended some of the Muslims by coughing. So, if they don't like Western ways, if they don't like Western customs, then why would you figure it humanitarian to bring them to a place that offends them? If we want to be humanitarian, like we've been on so many other incidences, send them food, no pork. Send them medicine, send them supplies, but never let them into your country. How idiotic is that? Especially when you've seen what's been going on in other countries. I mean, are we blind? We have blinders on, What's going on here? Do we really need these people in our country? Hell no. Let the countries that surround where they are take them, as they're doing. Look at Angela Merkel. They're screaming for her blood. Frank Holland, they call him Francois Hollande. I call him Frank. Frank Holland. They're being frank with you, Holland. They want your ass out of the presidency in France, because they're blaming you. First it was the Charlie Hebdo thing, and you sat on your butt, and what did you do? You accepted more of them in. Now they're blown the hell out of France, shot him up. Politicians, stupid governmental muckety-mucks are the reason people die. Foreigners are best left in their own land. Again, I say, if you can come over into somebody else's land, like we've seen countless times in the host countries, they go over there and raise hell, and they get up in the faces of the people that are armed. You know, they want to set policy about how the girls dress, what they eat, all this kind of thing. Now they go over and do all these crazy, heinous things. If you can do all that in somebody else's country, do it in your own country and fight for your own land. So, this thing of immigration is ridiculous. Again, I have to say, yeah, it's a pipe dream to want to see all of the foreigners that are here illegally go. Get them out of here. But there are several reasons why that will never happen. Excuse me, folks. One, there are too many of them here, and all of them are not going to go back willingly. You're going to have problems. Two, there's the financial aspect of it. Who's going to step forward and say, oh, we'll take them back for free? Is American Airlines going to step up? All the airlines, all the shipping industry, Princess Cruises, yeah, load them up on our boats, and we'll float them back to wherever they came from for free. I don't think so. So that means there's going to be a huge debt on top of the debt we already have. On that score, I think Kasich is right. That, to deport all that multitude of people, it's a fantasy. It's a pipe dream. They claim that they're some of the best workers, and that's why they want them here. Well, I say put their ass to work. Keep the 11.5 million here. Shut the door on the other ones. This Trump guy wants to build a wall. Build that wall, no door, and close the damn border. Okay, we don't have to have any more foreigners come in to have a creation of a new workforce. We got 11.2 million, okay? Put their ass to work. Those that can be trained to do even higher levels of work, put their ass in training and train them on the job training. You earn while you learn. After 5 or 10 years of continuous service to this country, then you will become a citizen. Because you have worked your way up. Those that are heinous criminals, yeah, deport their asses. That will be that'll be a doable thing. But you're not going to deport 11 million people out of here. Get out of here. Without a significant cost to our country. And I think having them here in the first place, we have paid enough through the nose. And that's another point in this immigration bullet. Other countries out there are saying America should step up and do their fair share of accepting in all of these crazy, weird people that we don't know who's going to kill us or not. To you idiots, I say this. You look at what this country has been going through systematically, especially since the early 40s. We've taken in more of our share. We've taken in Vietnam refugees. We've taken in Haitian refugees. We've taken in just about every refugee from every place to be refuged from. I don't even know that that's a word. But anyway, we've taken them in. We have given till it hurts. $20 trillion of massive debt piled up. We're in hock up to our American behinds because we've been trying desperately to fight other people's wars, take in their refugees, put them in businesses while our American businesses go asunder, educate their children while ours fall through the cracks, cure and medicate their diseases while our people end up in the graveyard, and you still want more from us? Well, I don't mean to be mean, but you foreigners who expect us to do more, you can go straight to hell. We have done our share. We have done our share so much so that we've even lost who we are as a people. Press 1 if you want to hear English. Press 1 if you want the directions in English. You go into a neighborhood like the one I live in. You barely see any kind of American signs. Little this, classic this town, Chinatown, this town. What happened to America? This is a big hunk of America, it's supposed to be. How many other nations do you go to and you see a little sign that says Little America? You come to this country and you claim you want to embrace its culture, its policies, its constitution, but then you're a blank American. Why can't you just be an American? So yeah, we've given till it hurts. This Black Lives Matter thing, all of them now want to embrace it because they want to be president. Black lives don't matter. They never did. Did a show on that. And I'll tell you why Black lives don't matter. Black lives are being downtrodden, ridiculed, tortured, killed every day. Black students are rising up all over the nation because of ill treatment. There's a police black community issue because the police like to go around, not all of the police, to you guys in blue out there and girls in blue are doing your job to protect and serve. Much kudos to you. Good on your mates. But you know, as well as everybody else knows, there are some of the police out there wearing the badge that don't mean it. And they go around killing folks. A lot of black folks. Some of them kill anything moving, even dogs. But black folks, they like to take out a little more than others. So black lives don't matter. You're considered a minority if you're black. So how could you feel your life matters if you're something minor? Something to be, tolerated or maybe not tolerated. So they never did matter. You are willing, a lot of Americans are willing to accept in these refugees with question marks over their head as to whether or not they'll say good morning to you or blow your head off, than you are to say good morning to a black person. I find that interesting. Oh yes, we need to have them come in. We need to show them have humanity. We need to care for the people. They're our neighbors. They're our brothers. It's the Christian thing to do. But when it comes to a blackface, an acute 360. Black lives don't matter. So any of those presidential candidates out there who are talking about Black Lives Matter, other than Ben Carson because he's black, I look at that with great scrutiny. Well, that's the Democratic debate. It was very dull, very boring. They're saying that the next Republican debate, it's far away. It's like February the 13th or something like that. And I guess they're tired of hearing them blowhards. So you guys give the nation a break. I think my brother wants to say something here.
I forget how many other times this pitiful Trump guy chimed in and called what they were doing a circus, and then went back on that guy and called him a clown, and had 2 other posts too, I believe.
Oh yeah.
He was very active on someone else's debate that wasn't the party he was in.
Yeah, I tell you, a few of the Republicans chimed in, but I think Huckabee chimed in twice, and was it Snarly Fiorina? Snarly, she chimed in once, but this Trump guy, over the top character, oh boy, he had to chime in 3 times and go around calling people clowns and their thing a circus. Huckabee and Fiorina, they were just saying that, there is a problem and, it needs to be solved and what have you. But he had to come in with his usual, bullying tactics, and you know, what a waste of skin that guy is. Anyway, that's the spin on the Democrats. Slithery Clinton is still way out in front, which is a pity. Sanders is trying to catch up, and this O'Malley fella, you know, what can I say about all of them? They're weird. So we'll be keeping an eye on it for you. We'll be keeping an eye on other current events as they break. And as usual, we hope that you stay safe and be happy, and take care. And we'll see you next time on the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Hey, don't forget to circle us on Google Plus and take a look at what we're up to on there as well. We thank you for all your well wishes and all your support. Bye-bye. Take care.